Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game.
Warriors force Game 7, but it feels more like a warning than a win. The Golden State Warriors may have technically extended their season with Friday night's 115-107 loss to the Houston Rockets, but you'd be forgiven for thinking otherwise. It felt less like a game they lost, and more like a game that slipped away, one decision, one missed rotation, one bad foul at a time. I caught Game 6 at a neighborhood bar in Oakland during a birthday party for a guy I mostly know because our doodles get along at the dog park. At one point, I scanned the crowd and realized I was a good decade older than everyone else there. Full of energy, invincible knees, and definitely not the type to commit 30 fouls in a win-or-go-home playoff game. Maybe that was the vibe foreshadowing what came next, a discouraging loss on home court that sends the Warriors back to Houston for Game 7 they never wanted to play. And yes, it also dangerously reopens the door to another round of jokes about blowing a 3-1 series lead. Again. The tone was set within seconds. Literally. Just 3.2 ticks into the game, Draymond Green launched into full Draymond mode, racking up a flagrant foul on Jalen Green that involved neck contact, some chaotic hand motion, and what appeared to be an accidental, we'll call it that, kick to the groin. And then, in peak Draymond fashion, he casually took a long swig from a sparkling glass water bottle on the bench. No word yet if it's a sponsor for his podcast. But the bigger issue? Golden State never found an answer for Fred VanVleet. Again. The Rockets guard put on another surgical performance, finishing with 29 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 6 threes. It felt like deja vu for Steph Curry and Kevin Looney, who are having flashbacks to the 2019 finals. VanVleet even opened the fourth with a 4-point play, triggering a Warriors collapse that lasted nearly 7 full minutes without a single made field goal. Houston's young core dominates the moment. Steven Adams was a wrecking ball down low, posting 17 points, 3 blocks, 5 offensive rebounds, and going 9-for-16 from the line, enough to break the Warriors' Hackaway strategy before it even got going. He swatted a Jimmy Butler layup early in the fourth, and from there, the Rockets went on a 26-13 tear that blew the game wide open. Alperen Sengun chipped in 21 points, 14 boards, 6 assists, and 3 steals. Tari Eason and Jabari Smith Jr. added efficient minutes off the bench, hitting timely threes and providing exactly the kind of youthful edge that Golden State lacked in the closing stretch. Despite a late push from the Warriors bench, the game never really felt close after that run. The final score, 115-107, doesn't fully reflect how decisively the Rockets closed it out. The stars delivered, but the support cast crumbled. Steph Curry, playing through a painfully swollen thumb, poured in 29 points and sparked an 11-0 solo run that tied things up late in the second quarter. He hit 6 of 16 from 3, but got little help from beyond the arc elsewhere. Jimmy Butler flirted with a triple-double, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 12 of 14 from the line. But he also went 1-for-6 from 3, part of a larger trend where Houston dared the Warriors' weaker shooters to take those shots. And they did. And they missed. Buddy Hield went 0-for-4 from deep. Gary Payton too went 1-for-4 on wide-open looks. Draymond hit one early 3, then clanked the next 3. It wasn't just cold shooting, it was a lack of composure and rhythm, especially with Steve Kerr's revised starting lineup, which left Brandon Podziemski and Moses Moody on the bench in favor of Hield and Payton. The result? Hield finished scoreless with 4 fouls in 17 minutes. Payton was a -12 in 20 minutes. And the Warriors looked disjointed and passive, settling for 49 three-point attempts out of 90 total shots, and turning the ball over 16 times. 5 of those came from Curry. 4 from Draymond. Down by double digits with 7 minutes to go, it felt like they mentally checked out. So what now? Now the Warriors head back to Houston for Game 7 that nobody in the Bay Area wanted. Not like this. The team looks old. The rotations look uncertain. And no one seems quite sure if they should leave VanVleet alone on the perimeter. They shouldn't. If there's a silver lining, it's this. The Warriors can still win this series. But they've got to stop beating themselves. That means fewer turnovers, smarter shot selection, and getting Moody and Podziemski back in the starting 5, the group that had found real chemistry before this reshuffle. And if all else fails? Maybe show the Rockets the current average rent in the Bay Area. Or the national student debt numbers. Or projections for sea level rise in the Gulf Coast. That might shake them up more than a weak double team on Sengun. Either way, this isn't about age or fatigue. The Warriors still have the talent and the will, but with their backs against the wall, they need to remember who they are, and play like it. The Warriors, back to the drawing board, and Houston for Game 7. As Golden State heads into what could be a season-defining Game 7, it's impossible to ignore the weight of the moment. The Warriors aren't just fighting for a spot in the next round, they're battling against their own narrative. After all, another blown series lead at this point would only fuel more of the 3-1 jokes that have haunted the franchise for years. For the Warriors, Game 6 wasn't just about bad shooting, poor rotations, and untimely turnovers. It was about the undeniable gap between them and a young Rockets team that seemed to thrive under pressure, with their fearless play and energy leading them to seize the opportunity. Houston's blend of youth and confidence was on full display as they capitalized on every misstep made by the Warriors. One of the most glaring issues for Golden State is their defense, or lack thereof. Fred VanVleet has torched them all series long, but this game, he was downright surgical. Despite Payton's best efforts to slow him down, VanVleet was everywhere, hitting clutch shots, making plays for his teammates. Steve Kerr discusses Jonathan Kuminga's potential return to Warriors rotation for crucial Game 7. We've found a formula. Steve Kerr may need to rethink his approach and give some crucial minutes to the often overlooked Jonathan Kuminga ahead of Game 7 for the Golden State Warriors against the Houston Rockets. In what feels like a painful case of history repeating itself, the Warriors find themselves in a familiar and somewhat troubling position, heading into a Game 7 after being up 3-1 in the playoff series. The Rockets came into Chase Center and stunned the Warriors with a dominating performance in the final quarter of Game 6, completely flipping the script. One glaring absence in the game was Jonathan Kuminga. With Jimmy Butler sidelined, Kuminga stepped in and showed flashes of his potential, impressing both Stephen Curry and Steve Kerr with his energy and athleticism. But once Butler returned, Kuminga was relegated to the bench with no playing time. This could change, however, as the Warriors may be turning to him in desperation for Game 7. Steve Kerr. Kuminga is absolutely in the mix for Game 7. After the crushing loss in Game 6, Kerr was asked about the possibility of inserting Kuminga back into the starting lineup. Without hesitation, Kerr made it clear that Kuminga is definitely being considered for Game 7. He explained why Kuminga had been overlooked in favor of the current system that had been working well up until now and how he's open to adjusting that formula. Yes, Kuminga is 100% in the mix, Kerr stated. We found a good formula towards the end of the season, and we stuck with it to start the series. We were up 3-1. Things were looking good. But obviously, the last few games have been tough. Kerr continued, we need to evaluate everything, lineup combinations, starting roles, all of it. We'll be looking at all options, and we feel like we still have a solid chance to go out there and win Game 7. Kuminga could be the X factor the Warriors need. In a 7-game series, teams tend to get very familiar with each other. The more they play, the more they understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. While familiarity doesn't breed contempt, it certainly breeds insight and advantages. And that's where Jonathan Kuminga could be the game changer. The Rockets have had limited exposure to him since Kerr has kept him on the bench when Butler has been available. If Kerr decides to unleash Kuminga in Game 7, it could provide a huge boost for the Warriors. Of course, this move doesn't come without risks. Kuminga's lack of minutes could have him a bit out of rhythm, something that former NBA player Boogie Cousins has pointed out as a possible concern. And that loss of rhythm could cost the Warriors dearly in such a high-stakes Game 7. A risk worth taking? The truth is, the Warriors need to shake things up after their disappointing Game 6 collapse. Kuminga's youth, athleticism, and versatility could be the spark they need, especially given how the Rockets have struggled to defend against his style of play. If he's given the chance, Kuminga could be the exact change of pace the Warriors need to put Houston on their heels. But Kerr is faced with a tough decision. Does he stick with the familiar lineup that got him to a 3-1 lead, or does he gamble with a player who could be the wild card that turns everything around? If anyone knows how to take risks and make bold moves when the stakes are high, it's Steve Kerr. Game 7 will test not only the Warriors' resolve but also their willingness to adapt. The potential return of Jonathan Kuminga to the Warriors' rotation could be just the move they need to ensure they don't let this opportunity slip away. Kerr's game-time decision. Will Kuminga be the key to Warriors' success in Game 7? With the stakes higher than ever, Steve Kerr faces a pivotal decision that could make or break the Warriors' hopes of advancing to the next round. The Game 6 loss to the Rockets served as a stark reminder of the team's vulnerabilities. Despite the Warriors' deep playoff experience, they were undone by a young, hungry Rocket squad that capitalized on every misstep. As the Warriors head into Game 7, Kerr's approach will be critical in determining whether they can bounce back and secure the win they so desperately need. The decision to potentially insert Kuminga into the rotation is not just a strategic move, it's a signal that Kerr is willing to make the necessary changes to ignite a spark within his team. The Warriors' offense has been predictable in the last few games, and although players like Steph Curry and Draymond Green have been playing at a high level, the team as a whole has struggled with turnovers and shooting inconsistency. Kuminga, with his raw athleticism and energy, could be the catalyst that jolts the Warriors back to their championship-winning form. The impact of Kuminga's fresh legs on Warriors' defense. Beyond his offensive upside, Kuminga's presence could also provide a much-needed boost to the Warriors' defense. With the Rockets players like Fred VanVleet and Alperen Sengun playing with confidence and aggression, the Warriors have struggled to contain Houston's ball movement. Kuminga's defensive prowess and ability to guard multiple positions would give Kerr more flexibility, especially with the Rockets' unpredictable offensive sets. In addition, Kuminga's energy could help the Warriors match the Rockets' tempo, something they've been unable to do consistently in recent games. His speed and athleticism on the break could be the difference in an intense, fast-paced Game 7. If Kerr gives Kuminga the minutes he needs, the Warriors might find themselves with the edge they've been missing in this series. The Warriors must adapt to survive Game 7. But as much as Kuminga could be the answer, the Warriors' success in Game 7 hinges on more than just one player. Kerr knows that this is a team effort, and has made it clear that changes will go beyond individual matchups. The Warriors will need to correct the mistakes from Game 6, especially their turnovers and lack of consistency in shooting. Curry has been carrying the team offensively, but he can't do it alone. The supporting cast needs to step up, including role players like Gary Payton II and Moses Moody, who have the potential to contribute more than they have in previous games. Game 7 will also test the leadership and maturity of the Warriors' core. They've been through countless playoff battles, and now it's time to see if they can dig deep and use that experience to overcome the obstacles in front of them. There's no more room for mistakes, and the pressure is on. A win would mean redemption and another chance to chase the ultimate goal, an NBA championship. A loss would mean an early exit and another bitter chapter to add to the Warriors' playoff history. Houston's young core, the Rockets' rising threat. The Rockets have been playing with a chip on their shoulder, fueled by the emergence of young stars like VanVleet and Sengun. They've been the underdogs in this series, but their recent performances have shown that they are ready to compete on the biggest stage. VanVleet, in particular, has been a nightmare for the Warriors, scoring efficiently and hitting clutch shots. His ability to perform under pressure has been one of the defining factors of this series, and the Warriors will need to devise a strategy to neutralize him in Game 7. Sengun, with his rebounding, playmaking, and interior presence, has also proven to be a matchup nightmare. The Warriors' frontcourt players will need to be at their best to contain him, but if Kuminga is given more minutes, his athleticism could give the Warriors an edge in defending against Sengun's crafty moves in the paint. The key for the Warriors will be to not underestimate Houston's young talent. The Rockets are fearless and have nothing to lose, making them a dangerous opponent. The Warriors have the experience, but the Rockets have the hunger to prove themselves, and that could be the X factor that gives them an edge in Game 7. The Warriors' window is closing. Will they seize it? This Game 7 is more than just a battle for playoff survival. It's a test of the Warriors' ability to adapt, evolve, and capitalize on their championship experience. With LeBron James' retirement looming, the Warriors know that their window for another title may be closing faster than they'd like to admit. For this team, Game 7 is more than just a game. It's an opportunity to remind the world why they're still one of the most feared dynasties in basketball history. As Steve Kerr weighs his options and prepares his team for what could be the most important game of their season, one thing is clear: the Warriors must evolve. Whether it's giving Kuminga a larger role, tightening up their defense, or leaning on their star players to rise to the occasion, the Warriors have to adapt to the challenge Houston presents. The Rockets are ready for a fight, and the Warriors have no choice but to match that intensity if they want to keep their championship dreams alive.